Welcome to this episode. Take a moment and remember one decision in your life that you were absolutely sure about at the time. But months or years later, you looked back and thought, how on earth did I think that was a good idea? Maybe you joined an investment that turned out to be a disaster. Maybe you chose a major in college that never really fit you. Maybe you stayed in a toxic job. Or maybe you trusted the wrong person, even though the red flags were already there from day one. In that moment, your decision felt logical. You felt like you had thought it through. But psychologist and Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman, author of the book Thinking Fast and Slow, says something uncomfortable. Most of our decisions are not the result of deep, careful thinking. They are the result of a fast, automatic machine in our brain that runs on shortcuts and stories. In this episode, we're going to explore that machine. We'll talk about the two modes of thinking inside your mind. We'll look at three common mental traps almost everyone falls into. We'll see why we hate losing so much. And we'll talk about the two selves inside you, the one who lives your life and the one who remembers and tells the story. The goal is simple. After listening to this episode, I want you to be able to pause before your next big decision and ask yourself, is this my fast brain talking or my slow brain? Most of us like to believe something like this. If I have enough information, I will make a rational decision. It sounds nice, but the truth is, our brain was not originally designed for logic. It was designed for survival. Imagine humans thousands of years ago, living in the wild. You hear a sudden noise in the bushes at night. What should your brain do? Carefully analyze it, or just say, danger, run now. For survival, the fast reaction is much better. So our brain became very good at reacting quickly, making decisions with very little information, and using feelings and simple stories. Now, we live in a completely different world. We have careers, businesses, social media, money, investments, and complex relationships. But our brain still often uses that old survival mode. This is where Kahneman's big idea comes in. Inside your mind, it's like there are two systems: a fast, automatic mode and a slow, focused mode. Kahneman calls them System 1 and System 2. To keep it simple, let's call them the automatic brain and the focused brain. Your automatic brain works fast. It feels effortless. It uses feelings, habits, and quick associations. For example, you see someone's face and instantly feel they seem kind, or they seem angry. You read 2 + 2 = and immediately think 4. You hit the brakes without thinking when a motorbike suddenly cuts in front of your car. Your focused brain works slowly. It needs effort. It uses analysis and logic. You use it when you calculate 27 times 19 in your head, when you read a long contract, when you build a financial plan from scratch. Here's the key problem. Your automatic brain is always on. Your focused brain is lazy and doesn't like to spend energy. So most of the time, the automatic brain gives a quick answer, and the focused brain simply agrees, then finds reasons to justify that answer. There's a famous little puzzle that shows this. A bat and a ball cost $11 in total. The bat costs $10 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Most people immediately answer, $1. That is your automatic brain talking. But if you slow down and actually calculate, you'll see the correct answer is 50 cents. This is a small, harmless example. But the same thing happens with real-life decisions. Choosing a job, taking a loan, starting a business, deciding who to marry. We feel like we've thought it through, but often it's just our fast brain creating a story and our slow brain nodding along. Kahneman has a powerful phrase for this: WYSIATI. What you see is all there is. Our brain hates having gaps in information. Doesn't like saying, I don't know. So when we only have a little bit of information, the brain doesn't say, I need more data. Instead, it quickly builds a story that makes sense from that small piece of information. For example, you watch a short video of a young entrepreneur on social media. You see a cool office, a luxury car, and a flexible lifestyle. Your brain quickly builds a story. Oh, the key to success is waking up at 4 a.m., journaling, meditating, and working 14 hours a day. If I copy this routine, I'll be successful too. But here's what you don't see. Family money in the background, 3 failed businesses before this one, lucky timing, and a team that helps behind the scenes. WYSIATI makes your brain feel like, no, I've seen enough. I know the whole story. This happens in career decisions, relationships, politics, money, and even in how we judge ourselves. Our brain prefers a story that is simple and clean, rather than the truth, which is usually messy and uncertain. To protect ourselves, we need some small tools in our head to check. Is this reality, or just the short version my brain invented? Let's look at 3 common mental traps, and some simple ways to catch them. The first trap is called anchoring. In simple words, we get stuck on the first number we see. Imagine you see a jacket in an online store. The original price says $100. It's crossed out. Now it's $59. Your brain says, wow, that's a huge discount. This is a great deal. But maybe the real fair price is $40, and the seller just raised it to $100 first, so the discount looks impressive. The same thing happens when you negotiate your salary, or when you buy something expensive, or when you set sales targets or business goals. The very first number becomes an anchor. Everything else feels cheap or expensive relative to that anchor, not relative to reality. So whenever you see an important number, ask yourself, is this number realistic? Or is it just the first number someone threw at me? The second trap is availability bias. We tend to think something is more common, more dangerous, or more important if examples of it are easy to remember. After a week full of news about plane crashes, many people become afraid of flying. But statistically, planes are much safer than cars. We think there are tons of young, successful entrepreneurs because our social feeds are full of their stories. But the many people who failed do not go viral. So whenever you hear yourself saying, it feels like this happens all the time, ask yourself, does it really happen all the time in the real world? Or does it just appear all the time in my news feed and in my head? If it's the second, you're probably under the spell of availability bias. The third trap is representativeness bias. This is when we see one example, and then we believe it represents a whole group. You meet one person from a certain profession who is arrogant, and you decide people in that profession are all arrogant. You try one product from a brand, have a bad experience, and conclude, this brand is terrible, everything they make must be bad. But your sample size is just 1. A simple trick to fight this is to ask yourself, how many real examples do I actually have? 1, 3, 100. If it's still on the fingers of one hand, maybe it's too early to say, they're all like that. Now let's talk about another key idea from Kahneman: loss aversion. His research shows that losing something hurts about twice as much, as gaining the same thing feels good. In simple terms, losing $100 feels about twice as painful, as gaining $100 feels good. Because of this, we become very afraid of losing, sometimes so afraid that we hurt our future, just to avoid a small pain right now. Real-life examples. Many people stay in toxic jobs because they are afraid of losing their stable income or their current position, even though in the long run it might cost them their health and happiness. New investors keep holding on to bad stocks that keep going down, hoping they will at least break even, instead of cutting their losses and moving to healthier investments. So how can we deal with this? Here's a simple method. First, write both options as losses. For example, you're thinking about changing jobs. If you stay, you might lose mental health, lose energy, and lose opportunities to grow. If you leave, you might lose comfort, lose a sense of security, and have to adapt to something new. Second, ask yourself, which loss am I more willing to live with over the next 3 to 5 years? Not just next week, not just next month, but 3 to 5 years. This time frame helps your slow brain join the conversation, instead of letting your fast, fearful brain make the decision alone. One of Kahneman's most interesting ideas is that we have two selves. The first is the experiencing self, the part of you that actually lives each moment. The second is the remembering self, the part of you that stores your life as a story and tells that story to yourself and to others. Sometimes the big decisions we make are not really for the experiencing self. They are for the remembering self. For example, you go on a holiday that is stressful, full of long lines, lots of arguments, and not much rest, but you get great photos for social media. Your experiencing self is exhausted. Your remembering self says, "My vacation was amazing." Or you accept a job that is constant meetings, late night emails, and high stress, but the title on your profile looks impressive. Your experiencing self is struggling, but your remembering self says, "I'm proud of this story about my life." There's nothing wrong with wanting a great story. The danger is when every decision only serves the remembering self, and your experiencing self is miserable most of the time. So before a big decision, try asking two separate questions. For the experiencing self, if I live with this choice every day for the next 1 or 2 years, will my daily life feel better or worse? For the remembering self, is this a story about my life that I'll be proud to remember? You don't always have to pick one over the other. Sometimes you can balance them. But the important thing is, be aware which self you are serving. Let's recap. From thinking fast and slow, we've learned that worse. Your brain has a fast automatic mode and a slow focused mode. The fast mode is useful, but full of biases and shortcuts. We often fall into traps like anchoring, availability, and representativeness. We are very afraid of losing, sometimes more than we care about winning. And we live with two selves, the one who lives life and the one who remembers and tells a story. We will never become perfectly rational robots, but we can become more aware humans. So here's a small challenge for the next 7 days. Pick one decision that matters to you, not something tiny, but not your entire life plan either. Maybe it's about work, maybe about money, maybe about a relationship. First, write down your fast answer. What is your automatic reaction? What do you feel like doing right away? Second, ask yourself 3 questions. Am I being pulled by the first number I saw? Am I just influenced by loud, dramatic stories that are easy to remember? Am I judging based on only 1 or 2 examples? Third, look at both of yourselves. If I live this choice every day, how will my life feel? If I look back on this choice in a few years, what story will I tell about it? Only then, make your choice. If you want to go deeper, you can write this in your journal. One decision I took too fast in the past and how I would approach it differently now that I understand how my brain works. Thank you for listening to this episode. If this helped you understand your own mind a little better, share it with someone who keeps asking, why does my life keep going wrong? Maybe it's not just their life. Maybe, like all of us, it's their thinking, fast and slow.